Hello everybody, welcome to Misano and welcome to the very first race of the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. We've got everybody heading to the grid right now. We've had qualifying all done with and now it is time for crunch time. It's going to be a brilliant race to start the season. The qualifying sessions were really mixed up. There was so much going on with the conditions, a drying track. I can't even begin to imagine what this race is going to be like as well because there's so many conditions that could get thrown at us here. So much rain, it could brighten up, it could dry out, we don't know. But what we're going to do is just have a quick look back at the qualifying highlights and then we're going to move back onto the grid and we'll get some interviews sorted for you. And I'm now here on the grid with Georg Fuchs, the Managing Director of the ETRA. Judge, we've had a fantastic start to the weekend here with a very exciting qualifying session. Conditions are difficult, that's going to be the talking point of the day. What do you reckon is going to go on here?
First of all, I want to express my deepest sympathy to the people affected here in Italy for the flood. Fortunately, in the area here around the Misano circuit, it's good, and fortunately everybody is fine here, so we are happy to have the event, unlike F1. For the sporting side, yes, difficult conditions, but in general, we are happy to be here, we are happy to kick off, so our teams. In general, there are a lot of new things this season, very exciting ones. Our step towards sustainability transition, we made a huge progress again. We have a new partner on board with the Krone, the e-trailer. It's powered by an electric engine, so it can save fuel up to 40%, so it's a huge number. It's also showcased here with a record lap and to selected events, so we are very proud of that one as well to add to it. On the track, we have seen a sneak preview of our first ever full electric race truck built by Team Hahn and developed by Team Hahn and Iveco. So this is also a really milestone, but of course we are looking forward to Nürburgring, where we will actually see that truck racing, so not in the grid, but some demo laps. And so we also will be in Poznan, our first ever event in Poland, and actually the first ever FIA championship going to a circuit to Poland. So we are happy about that as well. And these are the big news basically, and actually there would be much more to tell, but I tried to keep it short.
We never keep it short, do we? Yes. Well, it's a very exciting time for the championship, a great start to the year already, like you say, with so much new technology already on show at the very first race meeting as well. But it's the fact that the championship is getting the recognition for the sustainability efforts that we're making as well coming into this year, isn't it?
Actually, yeah, you're absolutely right. So very often people are quite surprised that when talking about sustainability for truck racing, but the Goodyear FIA TRC, together with all stakeholders, including the teams, including the event organizers, we are really doing what we can, and we are actually taking some actions. So that's why we are really proud of the recognition of a certified sustainability index. They did a survey of 105 championships, motorsport championships across the world, and we have been ranked on 16th position, and with a special mentioning, and we are really proud of. It's good to see that basically the work is paying off and we get things going.
Well, that's the thing, it gives us the confidence as well as a championship to carry on moving forward, carry on doing what we're doing, and we know that it's not going to disappear anytime soon, and we still get the great racing without, there's no negative effect from even the HVO when that first got introduced. It doesn't affect the noise, it doesn't affect the atmosphere of the trucks or anything like that. It's still raw racing, isn't it?
Exactly. As you mentioned, we are now in our third year racing on 100% HVO biofuel, which is reducing also the carbon emissions by up to 92% from well to wheel, which is a big step. The only difference is you hardly can see it, or basically you can't see it, because it's a plug-and-play solution. And we are very proud of that. It's working so well for us. And actually it's in line with our strategy. We are open for any kind of technology. So we have HVO proven for 3 years now. We have the bio-LNG Iveco Pace Truck. Now with Jochen and Iveco introduced basically the first full electric race truck. So there's just one energy pillar with hydrogen missing, but let's see what the future brings.
We certainly will, George. Thank you very much, mate.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, we're going to go on a bit of a walk now. We're going to go on a bit of a grid walk and see who we can interview and who we can speak to, I guess. We're going to try and find some drivers because we've got all the drivers lining up on the grid now, so let's go have a look, shall we? Let's go have a wander. Because we've got the wonderful brand new bright orange Ford F-Max this year as well. We had the blue F-Max last year, the darker version of it, and then we had, of course, the Iveco S-Way as well. And now we've got the sort of differentiation between the two of them, which is lovely to see. We've still got our beautiful Iveco S-Way as well, and we've still got our beautiful grid, which we're going to go and check out. We might leave Norbert Kish for a little bit. We're going to go and have a chat with him because we're broadcasting to a number of TV channels around the world this year. We will be welcoming them to our stream in a few minutes' time, basically. And we're going to leave Norby for that. And we're going to try and find Jochen Hahn. We're going to see whether we can have a chat with him, but there's a lot of attention around Jochen right now. It's Frank the Tank. We all love Frank. But as you can see, it's a very, very busy environment right now on the grid. There's so much going on. They've got their local commentator, Angelo, here as well, who's the sort of circuit announcer for this weekend. He's an absolute star. He's very loud, though.
I'll do a quick story. Not a real, but
Let's see whether we can push through and find anybody. We'll maybe wait for a moment before we can grab Jochen. Apologies, it's gone very quiet here at the moment. Okay, and I want to say hello then all over the world to our wonderful TV viewers that have just joined us here at Misano for the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Welcome to all of you. We hope you enjoy the coverage here this afternoon. We're going to do as many interviews as we can right now on the grid. I would like to try and have a chat first off with six-time champion Jochen Hahn. Jochen, how are you doing? It's a fantastic weekend for the team. It's a very exciting time for you guys with the electric truck yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. Yesterday was a great evening and we are very proud about it. So maybe it's the future, we don't know yet, but we work on it. So for the weekend, okay, the situation with the weather is a little bit so and so, but looks dry, and from this side we can make really a hard race.
Is it a difficult weekend to set the truck up for, though, when it's not quite fully wet, it's not quite fully dry, it's sort of in that middle ground?
You give the answer yourself. Yeah, it's clear. It's the best thing is, okay, completely wet or completely dry. So from the setup side, everybody play a little bit, and you don't know really it's the perfect or the optimum. We think we will see.
Well, we hope it goes well for you, Jochen. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Jochen's always cool, calm and collected, and he knows exactly what he's doing. Steffi Halm. Steffi, how are you doing first off? You having a good weekend?
Yeah, for the beginning it was okay. In the dry this morning we were struggling a little bit with the setup, so the quali was a little bit drier, so and it starts to dry up more and more and more, and that's why the times get quicker. So I was in the first part a little bit scared and went out again to be able to make a second fast lap, and but it was enough. I was P9 and in the Super Pole P3, so it was a perfect start of the season for me at the moment.
Yeah. Well, there's certainly not many places to gain to go forward from here. You're going to be sat right behind Norby and Jochen going at each other into turn one, but starting on the inside is very important here, isn't it?
For sure, but you know, the inside line is not always the better line. Now it starts to dry up, so you have one dry line and the other side, left and right, is a little bit wet. So it's also difficult to overtake because you have to leave the dry line. And yeah, for me at the moment is for sure I will keep my eyes to the twos in front, but also a little bit in the back because I want to finish on the podium. This is surely the goal for the race.
Best start to the season for you. Best of luck, Steffi.
Thanks.
Cheers. Lovely stuff. Well, in just a moment's time, we're going to be observing a minute's silence in the respect of those affected by the horrible flooding that's been going on up here in the northeast of Italy over the weekend. As you will have all seen, the Formula One has not gone ahead because of that as well, and there's obviously a lot of a relief effort that's needed in a lot of ways. As George mentioned before, we're very lucky down here because we're not as affected at this part down here in Misano, but obviously we want to still show our respect and give them a minute's silence. So we need to just sort of enjoy our grid for a little bit, and we'll obviously give them a moment for the minute's silence.
Nelle gare track, dall'alto di 6 titoli conquistati, il tedesco in blu e bianco, Jochen davanti agli steward dei vice ufficiali. Ed è un momento particolare, a 5 minuti prima del via. Le autorità che si raggiungono, siamo a raccoglierci tutti assieme per un minuto di pensiero, un minuto di raccoglimento, un minuto di ricordo e un minuto anche per riordinare le idee pensando alla nostra terra, la Romagna, attualmente colpita dal punto di vista meteo del territorio, nell'animo. Ci fermiamo per un minuto di raccoglimento in silenzio, insieme.
So there we go, a beautifully respected minute of silence. I'm joined now by Ciao Babacco. It's great to see you again, mate. It feels like ages since Harama, but you guys have been busy as ever, haven't you, over the winter and preparing for this?
Yeah, of course. It's always a pleasure to meet you and to meet everyone. We were really expecting this. It's a good feeling to have the season started here. We do our part with the development of the racetrack, but honestly, not so much has changed. We really hope that we still keep the same results like last year. So fingers crossed. I hope we can get the same results as where we are now.
And Norby mentioned just yesterday, we had a quick chat on the grid with the photo shoot, that you've been working a lot on the wet setup this year to make sure that even if you, I mean, we know how fast you guys are anyway, but you have that perfect setup in the wet. You know, it's always difficult to test for that though, isn't it? And sort of get the mileage in on a wet setup compared to a dry setup for events like this where it's just a little bit greasy.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, honestly, we really how to do so. Norby is a great help with that. So we don't really have to have the exact same conditions to fine-tune the setup. He has the really good feedback, a really good feeling for all this stuff. So when he tells something, you change a bit here, change a bit there, we go this way, we are 99% sure it's the correct way.
Well, it's certainly looking good at the moment after how qualifying went. Do you think it's going to be a usual procedure of break away a little bit at the front and then take it easy?
I really hope so, but I'm nearly sure that the others will give us a hard time during the season. So I really hope that we will have like this, but I don't think it will happen.
Well, it's good for the sport and it's good to watch anyway, isn't it? So we'll see. But thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Right then, lovely stuff. So, well, that's gone well, hasn't it? The headset, my headphone fell out. I'll get that before these lot leave the grid, because otherwise they're going to go flying off the grid and we're going to completely lose everything. So what we're going to be doing now is having the Ford leave the grid. With the Ford F-Max has gone on its inspection lap, which heads around the circuit, makes sure there's no debris, nothing untoward on the circuit, and it's all safe for racing. And then we're going to get going in just a moment's time. And I'm actually going to be running up to my commentary box very soon, because I'm on presenting, interviewing and commentating this weekend. It's been a lot of fun so far here at Misano, but this first race of the season has so much anticipation behind it. There was a really difficult qualifying session for all of the drivers and all of the teams, and everyone's going to be looking forward to this. And like Steffi mentioned, we've got a dry line here in the middle of the circuit, but it's not going to be the same for everybody on the inside of the grid. You are on the inside for the first corner, but you have to be so careful, because you're off that dry line and you're on the wet stuff, and it's not going to be easy to get it right. So they're going to have to be a little bit tentative down into turn one. It's going to be very exciting indeed. What we're going to do though is just have a quick look back at the reveal that I mentioned with Jochen Hahn and their e-truck that they brought to the paddock this weekend. It's an amazing piece of kit, and we were lucky enough to have a look at it last night, so we'll take a look at it now. Friday evening, the paddock was privileged to be treated to the unveiling of the very first all-electric racing truck, the e-truck, built by Team Hahn Racing, Iveco and their amazing partners. It looks absolutely incredible, and I was lucky enough to speak to Jochen Hahn about the project. Obviously, it's the first of its kind. There was no data or anything to go off from before. You know, there was no one had set the standard before, so this was a brand new thing.
Yeah, it's brand new, but sometimes in the life you must do the new things and you must look forward, you know.
Everybody here is all super excited for this huge step forward in the technology of truck racing, and of course we're all excited as well to see the truck in action further down the line.
As Georg opened the commentary box, and well, the grid walk was certainly an interesting experience. I hope that all seemed okay from where you were, everybody. It's a bit of a new experience to me, but still very enjoyable. I love speaking to the drivers and seeing everything up close. It certainly makes it a hell of a lot of fun. As you see now, the trucks are now on their formation lap. They are being led by our wonderful Iveco S-Way pace truck, which we've had for the last few years here in this championship, thanks to the wonderful support of Iveco, who look after us very well in this championship and really do support everything that we've been doing. Like Georg Fuchs was mentioning there, there's so much effort going into the sustainability side of this championship. It's lovely to see. Here's your grid then. Norbert Kish starts on pole position with a sweltering time, beating Jochen Hahn by just over 1.2 seconds. Steffi Halm is in third place on the grid alongside Antonio Albertetti. As Steffi said, watch out for that inside line, because being on the wet line there might not be the best. Andre Kurzim and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez will both be very, very happy indeed with a third row start. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez starting the highest of the Promoters Cup drivers. Then we have Stefan Faas, and newcomer to the championship is Mark Taylor in 8th position on row 4. Behind them, we have Jonathan Andre in truck number 64 and Louis Requenco making it into Superpole and securing 10th place. But one of the main talking points is Sasha Lenz starting down in 11th position. Watch out for Sasha in the bright purple number 3 machine. He starts alongside John Newell, who makes his first full season campaign this year. Heinrich Clementecker will line up in 13th position at the back of the grid, but will certainly be looking to make waves from there in the Scania that you see on screen there, the number 25 machine. So Norbert Kish, once again, starting from the front of the field. It's a position that he knows very, very well, of course. Something he's done many times before. He's so quick in terms of his one-lap pace. But not only that, but he can repeat it in the race as well. That's the terrifying thing about the Revace Racing Baloo, the big red MAN. The team and that machine all working in such perfect harmony. And as you saw from Gabor Bako there, who's the chief engineer, they certainly are hoping that it's going to be another easy affair for them here. As we make our way now round the final corner, they're going to release us for the first race of the season. I hope you're all as excited as I am, because this is going to be a real belter of a start. We get the yellow flag waved, and Norbert Kish leads the field away, with Jochen Hahn slotting into second place, Steffi Halm behind. I think they've been given actually a yellow flag start, so basically they're going to remain in single file in most forms and not go for overtaking each other. They'll be at race pace, but overtaking will be forbidden. Based on the conditions, they just need to try and play it safe here. So Norbert Kish leads, Jochen Hahn in second place, and Steffi Halm and Antonio Albertetti, you can see there in the number 23 machine in 4th position, still sliding the back end of that truck around, because the traction that they will break as soon as they just step off the dry line, sorry, by just a tiny amount, will all of a sudden throw them completely sideways. And look at the way this field just snakes its way through turns 4, 5 and 6 onto the back straight down towards turn 7. You can see the wipers are still on there for Norby, I think maybe just as a bit of a precaution to make sure that if there is any rain that comes throughout this, that they are making sure that it gets cleared as quickly as possible. Back up out of turn 8 they go. They should get a green flag next time round if the race director is happy with everything. You can see the medical car there following on just to make sure that everybody is making it around safely. And they certainly are so at the moment. The pace seems very good. It's still very warm, to be fair, around the circuit. It was surprisingly warm on the grid. But there is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, the highest placed of our Promoters Cup drivers at the moment. We have the 2 ratings for the drivers, Titan and Chrome. Consider it as Pro and Am, if you will, based on previous results. You can see Sasha Lenz there all over the back of Louis Requenco in front of him as soon as they go green flag racing. Sasha is going to jump at the opportunity to get past Louis. And there you go, green flag is in the air. So Norbert Kish leads them across the line now. Overtaking is now permitted. So Norbert Kish leads, has quite a decent gap over Jochen Hahn. There was a truck off in the background there for just a moment. I think that may have been Mark Taylor running wide out of the final corner. But Norbert Kish just going to start to stretch his legs now and just open up that advantage as he does so well. Steffi Halm under a little bit of pressure there from Antonio Alberthetti in third position. And look at how tight and twisty this part of the circuit is there. They go all the way away from us down to turn 4, hard on the brakes into what is nearly a 270 degree, nearly 180 degree right-hander. As, oh, there is a truck off, and that is Mark Taylor. Mark's overdone it down at turn 4. He gets it through the gravel and goes back onto the grass, which surrounds the outside of the gravel trap, but unfortunately, he's thrown away that awesome first qualifying session that he had, 8th on the grid outright. It was a really solid performance by Mark. But you can see there, look, that there is a definite gap opening up now between Jochen Hahn and Steffi Halm. And Antonio is working very hard to try and unsettle Steffi. Andre Kurzim just behind, though, in 5th position for the moment. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is currently in 6th place there with a bit of daylight between himself and Stefan Faas, who is currently 2nd out of all the Promoters Cup drivers. I can just see them from where they are now. I can just see them out of the window, off in the distance, streaking down to Curvone, which is the right-hander. Very fast right-hander. They hit 100 miles an hour very quickly to these trucks, and they don't progress any further than that. They are limited to 100 miles an hour, and you can see Sasha Lenz has not only got past Louis Requenco, but he's got past John Newell and then Jonathan Andre as well. So Sasha now up into 8th position, and that could be very important because the second race, which is coming later on today, is going to be a reverse grid race. So the top 8 get reversed, and there is Mark Taylor stuck at the side of the road. There doesn't seem to be any major damage on the truck. It doesn't look like it's skidded into that location or anything. There's no sort of rubber marks on the road that point it in that direction, but it seems like Mark's had some sort of issue that sidelined him already in this race. That's a massive shame, and will, of course, bring out at least a yellow flag in that sector. Hopefully nothing worse. Hopefully we don't have to red flag it because the truck is stranded at the side of the circuit. If we're lucky, he could be able to get it reversed and get it moved out of there. But that could be a lot easier said than done. But Norbert Kish now has a 1.5 second lead, nearly 1.6 seconds. Now 1.9 seconds even as they go through the first sector. They are then a good 4 and a bit seconds clear of Steffi Halm and Antonio Alberthetti. And Norbert Kish is slow. Norbert Kish is slowing on the back straight. What on earth has happened here? Suddenly slows down on the back straight, and it's I'm not sure if he's crawling to a halt, whether he's just going to be able to continue round slowly. Already in the first race meet, in the first race, let alone the first race meeting, first race of the season, we had dramas for Sasha Lenz in qualifying. He had a technical issue, and it doesn't even look like Norby's going to be able to get up the hill, or is he just slowing down to let trucks past? No, he's not going to be able to go anywhere. Norbert Kish is going to get stranded at turn 8. Unbelievable stuff for the reigning champion. I can see a recovery vehicle on its way all the way down there now. Incredible stuff. So the number 81 machine, which was Mark Taylor, was stopped at turn 7, and now Norbert Kish has stopped at turn 8. This is remarkable. I can see him out of the window. He's just parked it, and he can't get it going. That is absolutely unbelievable stuff. I thought maybe he was just slowing to prove a point that, you know, they had to slow down because of where Mark Taylor's truck was, but it seems like Mark maybe got it out of the way. I didn't quite catch a glimpse of it, but there is Norby just parked roadside. So Jochen Hahn leads the race. He's got Steffi Halm in 2nd. She's put a bit of a gap over Antonio Alberthetti. Then you've got Andre Kurzim in 4th position. So we've got the 3 Ivecos, 1st, 2nd and 4th at the moment. Amazing. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez continues to lead in the Promoters Cup in 5th place. Then we've got Stefan Faas in 6th position. Sasha Lenz now inherits 7th place after the demise of 2 trucks ahead of him. He's having a good run through at the moment, you could say. But Norbert Kish, I cannot believe it. I can't see which flags they're going to be covering that zone with, but obviously the truck's in a quite dangerous position on the exit of the corner. We wouldn't want anyone to run wide in these greasy conditions and collect it because there would be unnecessary damage. There is Mark Taylor's truck at the side of the road. Not really in that much of a dangerous position because of how the straight curves left, I suppose. But there is Norby at the side of the road. I can't believe it. well, maybe I ought to go and apologise to Chaba and to Norby and the team for putting some sort of commentator's curse on that. A lot of friends of mine argue that the commentator's curse isn't real. It can strike, I tell you, in moments of mentioning someone's name or maybe 10, 15 minutes later. But that means, though, that Jochen Hahn has inherited the lead in the very first race of the season. That's exactly what he would have wanted, really. You never wish any ill fate on your rivals or your opponents, of course. But he'll be pleased with the fact that he's got the lead, regardless of the circumstances. Now, what about Sascha Lenz chasing down Stefan Faas? Well, there you go. What about Antonio Albertetti chasing down Steffi Halm for second place? There is Norbert Kish out of the truck. Closes the door, very dejected, as you can see, very frustrated with what's happened. He says it's absolutely dead. Absolutely dead. That's devastating stuff to start their campaign off. He starts on the back foot already. But it just seemed to just slow down so gradually. It just looked like maybe the electrics had gone and it just wasn't providing any power at all. And he's saying it's absolutely dead, completely dead. And over the tyre barrier he goes. And now he's just a spectator. Here's John Newell defending from Heinrich Clemens Hecker. This is for 9th position. Hecker throwing everything at him that he can at the moment. It looked really quick mid-corner there, through the first chicane, through turn 2, the left-hander. Now around the long sweeping turn 3, down towards turn 4. Looks down the inside on the brakes. Doesn't quite get the nose down the inside, but nearly pushes the back of John Newell. These two fighting for a place in the Promoters' Cup, of course. In their positions there as Clemens Hecker puts his nose down the inside, but John cuts his nose off and says, no, thank you. We don't want any of that going through turn 6. And he's managed to actually get a bit of a gap on him there. I think Heinrich Clemens Hecker, out of everything, compromised himself a little bit. Now, John was telling me after qualifying that they had trouble on the brakes, getting the truck slowed down without it locking up. Oh, Heinrich Clemens Hecker's having a bit of a problem on the brakes there as well. Look at the amount of time that he's now lost to John Newell. But yeah, John said that it was locking up the brakes really easily. He wasn't really having to stamp on the brakes at all to get them to lock up. He was just trying to brake as gently and smoothly as possible, and it was just kept snatching the brakes every so often. And it didn't give him the confidence to chuck it in and get the truck to behave itself and really wrangle the thing. But your race leader is still Jochen Hahn, and he continues to open up a gap to Steffi Halm. A reminder there that all of our trucks are powered by 100% renewable HVO diesel. As Georg Fuchs mentioned in our interview before, it reduces the emissions of these wonderful machines by up to 92%. And it is a plug-and-play solution, as he called it. There is no major modifications needed to make these trucks run on such diesel as well, which is part of the beauty of it. You know, there's not a horrendous amount of work that goes into integrating such fuels and such sustainability methods, and that's what the championship is all about as well, especially with the fact that a lot of the testing and the running that we do here in this championship can give back to the industry as well. It can give back to the world of logistics and haulage. Steffi Halm's doing a bit of haulage at the moment in the fact that she's dragging Antonio Albertetti along behind her right now. There is Sascha Lenz in the number 3 machine. He's trying to catch up with Stefan Faas just ahead in 6th position, but the SL Apollo Tyres SL Truck Sport 30 machine can't quite get that done at the moment. Antonio Albertetti looks very confident in trying to take second place from Steffi. You can hear many tyres squealing out the window. A lot of them push very hard, and Steffi's pushed too hard. Steffi pushes straight on up at the top of the hill, up at turns 9 and 10. Gets back on the circuit very quickly, but what's Andre Kurzim going to do about it? He's pushed too hard now. Get a bit excited there about the fact that Steffi was going off the circuit in front. He thought, oh, that looks like a freebie. I could get a free position out of this. And he's overdone it himself. It's so easy to do that. You can just completely run yourself out of road if you're focusing too much on the truck ahead of you. Here's another look. Steffi turns in at turn 9. It does tighten up into turn 10, and she's just gone in too hot, and all you're doing there is just turning and braking as hard as possible, and it's just caught that inside wheel. And unfortunately, she's lost second place because of that. She hasn't lost third, though, so she's still on for a podium, as she mentioned before. That would be the goal for today, is to get a podium. It does now mean that Jochen Hahn, that man there in number 2, is way, way ahead. There's a black and white flag going out at the moment. Now, that could be for track limits. That could also be for not so much contact. We've not really seen any contact between anybody at the moment. But sometimes you can hit penalty markers. You can run wide outside of track limits. And if you do that a certain number of times, then you will get a warning in the form of a black and white flag, which is it's not necessarily a sort of unsportsmanlike behaviour flag, but that's what it used to be known for, basically, the black and white flag. They'll hold that out of the gantry with a number, which is the corresponding driver's truck number. There's some of our wonderful fans all lined up on the side of the grandstand watching on. And here is a battle between Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Stefan Faas. This is the MAN versus the Scania. Stefan Faas, the German, in the number 24 machine, looking for a bit more luck this season. He didn't have the luckiest of times in 2022. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, reigning French truck racing champion, trying to make a big impression here. He's done a couple of races with us before and has shown some great pace, but now he's got the time to focus on a full campaign here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. He's going to be a very happy boy. You can see Stefan just tries to take a later apex there at turn 10 to try and tuck the truck in. Once they both get to 100 miles an hour, though, it's all going to be fair game. It's just about the acceleration on the way down there. You don't want to gain too much slipstream, because seeing as you're not allowed over 100 miles an hour, all you're doing is heating your truck up with no benefit of extra speed. So Stefan sits behind him, waits for Jose to take it easy at the bottom of the straight, and he nearly goes across him for it there. He nearly tried it, did Stefan, but he decided to back out and just give it time. And all of this fighting is going to help Sascha Lenz behind. If Stefan really does push Jose Eduardo, then it means that Sascha Lenz is going to be able to close in easily. So there's Jochen Hahn into turn 1. The gap at the moment, 6.4 seconds over Antonio Albacete. And then Steffi Helm not too far behind at all. About 1.7 seconds, I make it. And then Andre Kurtim in 4th place. Then there's this great battle, not just for 5th position outright, but this is for the Promoters' Cup win as well, this. Whichever one of these two finishes highest takes the victory in the Promoters' Cup for the day. Or for this race, at least. We've got 4 races, don't forget, this weekend. There is Antonio now, just making that gap a little bit bigger at the moment. Steffi still needs to have her wits about her here, because Andre Kurtim will definitely take advantage if needs be. Jochen Hahn has just made his way through turn 8 now. I could just see him out the window. He seems so confident on the brakes. The truck looks really good on the brakes, very stable indeed. Same with Steffi actually into there. It didn't look like there was a moment's hesitation. And I've seen that Jose Eduardo Rodriguez has got a bit of daylight between himself and Stefan Faas now. So it seems Stefan may be pushing that little bit too hard. We've got a black and white flag for truck 25, which is Heinrich Clemens Hecker, for turn 5, the track limits there, which is just cutting across the inside curb on the right. And then a black and white flag that we would have seen before went out for Stefan Faas, actually the aforementioned Stefan Faas in truck 24. He's also been overdoing it slightly with the track limits, unfortunately, but like I say, it's not too major an issue. They just need to make sure they don't keep doing it, otherwise they get penalties applied post-race, which will affect their time and their position, of course. There's Heinrich Clemens Hecker, maybe running wide of the track limits once again there. He's pushing on in 10th position at the moment. You get points all the way down to 10th in this championship. There is an overall championship and then the Promoters' Cup championship as well, so they are scored all together for the overall standings based on your overall position in the race, and then for the Promoters' Cup you are scored within that class. So Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, even though he finishes 5th, he would get a 1st place in the Promoters' Cup, if that makes sense. So he'll get full points there where possible. Stefan Faas would get credited with 2nd place, and Jonathan Andre with 3rd. John Newell still running 4th in that class at the moment. He's actually put a bit of daylight between himself and Heinrich Clemens Hecker at this moment in time. But there you can see Sascha Lenz starting to close in on these guys. And Sascha fancies himself a top 5 finish from 11th on the grid, doesn't he? We're on the 9th lap of the race. The graphic in the top left tells us how many laps have been completed so far out of the 12. So it's simple maths of just adding 1 onto whatever lap that says, and that's the one we're actually on. Another black and white flag going out for Stefan Fast, so he's definitely pushing it a little bit too hard at the moment. I mean, from what I can just see out the window, the way that Sasha Lenz behind them dives in on the brakes was so good. He really threw it in there. He's just able to brake that a little bit later than these guys. He's got that confidence in the truck. Stefan Fast takes a wider line through turn 10, but then tucks the truck back in on the exit. We saw him try that as an overtaking maneuver on Jose Eduardo Rodriguez just before, but it seems now that that's just how he attacks the corner each lap. He prioritizes the run out of the corner and lets the truck go a little bit deep on the way in. But Jose Eduardo is doing everything right at the moment to hold on. Jose was part of a trio of generations of his family that were all truck racing at the same time, actually, a long time ago. It was himself, his father, and his grandfather as well, all on track at once, and I'm not sure of anywhere in the world where that's happened before. Stefan Fast is all over the back of him now, though. Look at him outstanding water on that curb on the inside line. There's so much of it there. They really can't take their chances with that and cut across. There's the gap from Antonio Albertetti back to Steffi Halm. As, oh, dearie me, there's a lot of smoke suddenly pouring out of Steffi's truck. What on earth has happened there? Oh, Steffi was running so well in third, but that, well, that's definitely not something that can sustain itself to the end of the race there. Now, we do have a black smoke rule in this championship, which is obviously against any sort of emissions coming out of the trucks and any sort of harmful chemicals that may be put into the air to go hand in hand with the sustainability of the series. But I'm not sure about the white smoke rule, but I think, to be fair, that's going to put Steffi out of the race before any of the stewards will have chance to because of that. That is some definite major failure there. And it's not stopped the truck instantly, but it's still able to move, but I don't think it'll be able to move for very long. There's a humongous smoke screen as I look left out of my commentary box window. Now, I think Steffi has stopped before that shot from our cameras there, actually, because I think she pulled over on the left-hand side after turn 6. You can see where the marshals are looking over, actually. I imagine she's just off to the right of our shot up there, parked at the side of the road. And there you go, there is the number 44 machine. That's so devastating again for Steffi Halm. She was saying that she wanted a podium out of today, and unfortunately that prime opportunity starting third on the grid has just literally gone up in smoke. Again, I think now I owe her an apology as well. Everyone I've interviewed so far, except Jochen Hahn, has had a bad race. I'm touching wood, though, because we don't want to wish that on anybody. But Steffi will be completely dejected. And it's really difficult to deal with as a driver as well when it's not something that you've done. You know, it's not a mistake that you've made trying to overtake somebody or overly defend from a driver. When it's just something that the truck has let you down with, it's so difficult to accept. And hopefully Steffi is okay. It says there's potentially oil on the circuit as well because of that, so the drivers need to be really careful. I think you could see Antonio Albertetti taking a different line into turn 1 there. He's turning in very early. Andre Kursim continues on the normal line that he was on, and we've still got this battle going on here for now 4th position. So a top 5 for 2 of the drivers involved in this is definitely on the cards. We've got Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. I keep getting his name wrong this weekend. I'm really sorry, Jose, and family. Stefan Fast is 5th at the moment, and then Sasha Lenz has made his way up from 11th on the grid into 6th place for now. But how long is that going to be 6th place? Is he going to be able to gain another spot or even 2 here out of this? Because he's putting so much pressure on Stefan Fast. He's going to wait now until turn 8, I imagine. There's probably yellow flags out just on the exit of turn 6 there where Steffi will be parked. But Andre Kurzim now on his way to a podium and all on his own, really. He's not got anyone challenging him. There is the run down to turn 8 that I mentioned for Sasha Lenz. Sasha puts 2 wheels on the curb on the outside there, almost to help over-rotate the truck on the way in. But at the moment, he's just following in the wheel tracks of Stefan Fast. He's not making too many drastic efforts to gain places. He's got a couple of laps left to do this. We're on the 11th lap of the race now. And the next one will be the final one. And Jochen Hahn continues to lead this race now by over 5 seconds, nearly 6 seconds to Antonio Albertetti. But this battle could erupt at any moment, couldn't it? We've got Jose Eduardo Rodriguez just ahead of Stefan Fast, just ahead of Sascha Lenz. 3 drivers with very different experience in this championship. Jose Eduardo, very new to the series, only done a handful of races with us before. Stefan Fast has been around for quite a while. Stefan starting back in 2017. We're on to the final lap now, and this is going to be Sasha's prime opportunity to have a go. He's making it very clear he wants to go down the inside, then cuts back across to the outside as Stefan Fast goes very, very close to the back of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. There's no move being made yet, though. They go one way, then the other. Jose Eduardo has to keep his head now. Like I say, he's not as experienced in this championship as the other 2 guys around him, but he's got a lot of experience in winning the French championship as well. He is the reigning champion there. As wow, around the outside goes Sascha Lenz into turn 4. Sascha was very late on the brakes and throws it around the outside of Stefan Fast. I'll keep my eye out the window to see if he's got it done, but it looks like Jochen Hahn right now, he's just taking it easy on this final lap. The gap will come down to Antonio Albertetti. And I'm looking at the battle now, and it is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez ahead of Sascha Lenz. So Sascha has got the better of Stefan Fast, but he's lost a good, well, I don't know, 4 or 5 truck lengths to the Portuguese driver. But here comes Jochen Hahn, 6-time champion here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. He's got the most race wins out of anybody in the series on 116, and that's about to go up by 1. He's about to secure his 275th appearance on the podium as well. And this is the perfect way to start the campaign for Jochen Hahn. He may not have qualified on pole position, but he was just only a tiny bit off the pace with Norbert Kisch. And they're certainly going to be excited to take the challenge to them this year. There's one of the penalty markers in the middle of the road, but let's have a look at the drifting. He's so good at this. He's Jochen Hahn wins the first race of the season in the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship with Truck 23 of Antonio Albertetti in second place. Great result for him. And 2 Ivecos on the podium the day after they released their incredible electric racing e-truck. Andre Kurzim completes the podium, and that for Andre is going to be his 16th podium in his career. I still got it wrong again. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez wins the Promoters Cup. Sascha Lenz gets a top 5 after a really solid race. Stefan Fast second in the Promoters, and third place is going to go the way of Jonathan Andre from Lion Truck Racing. He secures a podium in the number 66 machine in his category, and a good recovery there by John Newell to finish 8th outright and 4th in the Promoters Cup. Heinrich Clemens-Hecker racing Louis Requenco to the line, just completing the top 10, those 2, and completing our finishes actually after issues for 3 of our drivers there, Steffi Helm, Norbert Kisch and Mark Taylor. That is devastating stuff though for all 3 drivers. Mark had a bit of a mistake down into turn 4 and then just went straight on, and all of a sudden that must have knocked something out in the truck, or whether he already had the problem and then he just wasn't able to carry on. Norbert Kisch's problem was almost instant. It's like it had just turned off all of a sudden and wasn't able to make it around the next corner or even up the hill out of turn 8. And then Steffi Helm again just coming down into turn 1 on the brakes, and the truck just let go, something completely going. I think the oil was was being spat out everywhere, and that's why it was that sort of really light bluish smoke. All the oil hitting everything hot and just burning off. But a great start to the season for Jochen Hahn. Started on the front row of the grid, did everything in his power to stay with Norbert Kisch, and then overtook him and inherited the lead after Norby's truck broke down. The conditions weren't as much of a factor as I made out that they would be, to be honest, but then again, it hasn't started raining again here at Misano just yet. And there's a lot of people still under shelter, just playing it safe, I can imagine. But Antonio Alberthetti and Andre Curzin will both be very, very happy with a podium finish. There is Mark Taylor's truck at the side of the road. Gonna have to go and ask what on earth happened to him in that situation there. But there is your race winner, Jochen Hahn, making his way down the pit lane, as most of the crews do as well. As all the teams make their way in, they'll give him a round of applause as he pulls into Parc Fermé. There is our camera on the ground, and I can imagine a sound of the horn is imminent. He's just about to pull in right below my commentary box as well. And for the first time this year, he is a race winner in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Antonio Alberthetti with some big points in second, and third going the way of Andre Curzin. Like I said before, 2 Ivecos on the podium the day after they released their electric e-truck. A great, great day for the manufacturer. Great weekend for them so far. And it's a great looking top 3 as well. Very well done to Jose Eduardo Rodriguez for taking the win in the Promoters Cup from Stefan Faas. And then Jonathan Andre. Andre Curzin's team very happy with the podium. They'll be over the moon with that one. Andre started 5th on the grid. He kept it on the black stuff well enough to the end. And there is Jochen Hahn with his wonderful wife and his amazing team. Such a great team effort. They're over the moon. Look, even celebrating with the Don't Touch Racing team as well. And that's one of the best things about this paddock, is that everyone is so friendly. There's Lucas Hahn as well, Jochen's son. We'll be seeing Lucas on the track at a couple of races this season. And again, look at this, the camaraderie between drivers and teams, rival teams and friends. It's just awesome. Really, really awesome. So Jochen incredibly happy. There's Janine, one of the organisers of the championship, and Dominic as well down there helping out with sorting out all of the proceedings. And Antonio Alberthetti as well, celebrating with friends and team. Tim Frost on the right-hand side there as well. I imagine Tim's initial reaction was one of humongous excitement. But there is your result. Jochen Hahn takes the race victory, 4.6 seconds clear of Antonio Alberthetti, with obviously accommodating for some drifting at the end as well. Andre Curzin finishes in 3rd position, a great podium, with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez finishing in 4th place. He wins the Promoters Cup. Sasha Lenz in 5th place, ahead of Stefan Faas in 6th. He came 2nd in the Promoters Cup, ahead of Jonathan Andre, who rounds out that Promoters Cup podium and gets 7th overall. John Newell recovered to 8th after starting 12th on the grid, a good performance by him. Heinrich Clemens Hecker finishes in 9th position after starting right at the back, and Louis Requenco rounds out your top 10. But the field did spread out quite a lot in the later stages. Steffi Halm, Norbert Kish, and Mark Taylor, the non-finishers in that race. A very attritional one with a lot of interesting and very unique.
Thanks, Chaz. I'm here with overall race winner Jochen Hahn. Jochen, talk us through that race. How'd it go for you?
Yeah, it's lucky. I'm a lucky man. So in the 3rd lap or 2nd lap, I see nobody. I look, it's a red flag or it's a warning or what happens? It's a race accident. No, he goes slow. You have a technical broken. I feel I can hold the speed from him, so it's a shame for him to on the place 1. So, okay, I'm a lucky man. I win the race. I'm happy.
It's a wonderful way to start the championship for you as well. Just looking forward to the rest of the season.
Yeah, but you know, it's the first race. We must speak on the last race. So it's a present from him to me. Hopefully he make it more time. So from this side, I'm happy. And now also with the speed. With the speed, I'm not so. I feel good. I feel confident. Constance to the end. And from this side, I'm really happy.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations and good luck for later. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Stiamo preparando per la cerimonia, stanno arrivando i protagonisti al podio. Siamo anche molti nuovi del campionato. L'argento di gara, signori, 3 volte campione, icona. Storia, il più titolato della serie con i suoi 6 titoli di campione d'Europa, da Altenstein, Germania, con il suo Iveco del team Honda. Il nostro direttore, il dottor Andrea Danni, direttore dell'Autonomo di Misano, Misano World pronto con il trofeo di bronzo che viene consegnato nelle mani di Andrea Cussima. La seconda posizione che spetta al veterano di questo campionato, fortissimo asso castigliano Antonio Albacete. E il trofeo della vittoria, il trofeo. 6 volte campione d'Europa dalla Germania, Georg Fuchs. E ora è il momento di stare le bandiere e di ascoltare tutti assieme l'inno nazionale tedesco. Un caloroso applauso al podio, è il momento delle foto. So please guys, can you just wear your Goodyear cap, picking up your trophy, showing your trophy, please. Okay, like this. Looking downstairs and also on the podium, all together on the moving step of the podium, please. Really close each other. Okay, look downstairs, look on your left side. And now it's time to take your cap. If you want, but you can with your own cap. That's the same. Yes. Okay. Picking up the trophies all together. Looking downstairs first of all. And then after, you can look on your left side. And now you can just pick up your bottle and that's all. Okay, this way. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Congratulations. E ora è il momento del podio della Promoters Cup. Promoters Cup riservata ai voti nuovi, riservata a piloti emergenti. È il momento di cambiare le bandiere. Avremo la bandiera di Francia, la bandiera tedesca e al centro la bandiera del Portogallo. E quindi vedete che quanti personaggi fanno parte della grande.
And there you go then, Jochen Hahn now taking 20 points at the top of the table. Antonio Albacete taking 15, a nice gap of 5 points between the two. 3 then back to Andrei Kurzim, who then scores 12 points. And Jose Eduardo Rodriguez scoring 10 points as well. Apologies, my microphone died for a moment there. I had to reboot it, and I lost my audio mixer, so my apologies. But yes, I was just explaining there, they are not spraying the champagne this weekend, or at least in races 1 and 3, as a mark of respect for those affected by the flooding in northeastern Italy. Sasha Lenz will be happy with 5th place, I tell you, because that will have been a very difficult pill to swallow, qualifying 11th. There is Jonathan Andre finishing in 3rd place in the Promoters' Cup. Stefan Faas finishing in 2nd position in the class in that race. He's a good friend of all the guys at the TV crew as well as Stefan, so he's always up for a good laugh. But there is a great start to the season for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, and the reigning French champion takes a win in the Promoters Cup first time out. Very, very well done. Jonathan Andre takes home the first silverware for Lion Truck Racing this season. Stefan Faas certainly making a great start to his season as well after a lot of bad luck last year. He certainly tried hard to chase down Jose Eduardo towards the end of that one. And we're sure that that's going to be a battle that we get to enjoy a lot as the season goes on. There is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, though, your race winner in the Promoters Cup here in race 1 at Misano. There you go, the Portuguese national anthem for the Reboncourt Racing Team driver. And now they will get directed where to stand on the podium for their pictures. I was explaining before that the tradition in the championship is that a lot of the drivers tend to have their own branded hats and caps that they will change over from the Goodyear ones that they get given for their finishing positions in these races. And a very well done to our podium finishers there. Jonathan Andre, Stefan Faas, and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. The Promoters Cup is going to be very hotly contested all season. There's Richard Kaimberger, legendary photographer here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. I'm actually sharing an office with him this weekend, and I'm very grateful because every time I get in here and start commentating and shouting, he runs to go and do some very good photography. So we're certainly like ships in the night. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez takes the championship lead then again on 20 points. Like I said before, they score points based on where they finish within their class in this part of the championship. Stefan Faas in second place and Jonathan Andre in third with 12 points. John Newell, Heinrich Clementecker and Louis Requenco were all classified in that race. And the only one that won't have scored points there in that one would be Mark Taylor. And we're going to have a quick look back now at how that race unfolded and just give you a quick recap on how we got to this point at the end of the first race of the day. So everybody prepared for the first race of the season. I'm getting very, very excited for the action to come. And with Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn willing to do battle on the front row of the grid again, it was going to be an exciting time. Mark Taylor's race didn't last very long, and neither did Norbert Kish's race. An interesting failure for him there, and certainly one that they will hope not to repeat later on in the day when race 2 comes around. He'll be starting, obviously, from further down on the grid. There were some great battles throughout the field, though, especially in the Promoters Cup, which provided a lot of the action. John Newell was just there defending from Heinrich Clementecker. Steffi Halm was going very well near the front of the field until a catastrophic failure really ruined the truck, and I believe it may have had something to do with her moment off the circuit. The Promoters Cup win was hotly contested as well between Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Stefan Faas, eventually the Portuguese driver taking the victory there. And there is the failure for Steffi Halm. The truck managed almost half a lap more after this, though. It wasn't completely terminal straight off the bat, but hopefully it's something that they can fix for the race later on. These mechanics in this paddock are some of the very finest in the world, though, I can tell you that. They certainly know what they're doing with these machines, and they are very resilient machines and resilient people. So hopefully so. We will see Steffi back out on the grid later on. There was opportunistic moves as ever from Sasha Lenz making his way through the field to eventually grab 5th place, but it was Jochen Hahn, the most winningest driver in the series history, taking the first win of the season. Antonio Albertetti finishing in 2nd, and Andrei Kurzim wrapping it up in 3rd with a great podium to start his season. And that was the first race of the day here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. A very, very tasty weekend so far, with a topsy-turvy qualifying session and then a first race with attrition and failures alike to really, really throw some different results at us. And we're going to go back down to Alice, who's going to have a quick couple of interviews for us in just a moment's time. She's going to see whether she can grab some of the drivers from the Promoters Cup so we can hear from them after hearing from Jochen Hahn earlier. Just looking down into the paddock, I can see it's still a very, very busy place. Sorry, into the pit lane at least. There's a lot of buzz around it. And we have Alice now ready for an interview.
Thank you. So I'm here with Promoters Cup winner Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Congratulations on the win. Just talk us through your race.
The race is very difficult, but I take the victory in the Promoters Cup is the most important, and the focus in the next race.
How are you feeling for the next race? More of the same?
I'm very confident with the next race, and we take a victory as possible.
Thank you very much. Congratulations again. Thank you.
Jose Eduardo Rodriguez now having to defend very, very hard from Stefan Fast behind him. He knows that he's going to have a very, very busy time all season if that's going to be the same. Don't forget, there is another race coming up later on today. It's going to start at 6:05 local time, and we're going to do it all again in these conditions with, of course, a reverse grid, 8 trucks reversed on that one. So it's going to be certainly exciting to see how some of our front runners from this race come back through. But that's all from us here for now. I hope you've enjoyed the show, everybody. And of course, we look forward to seeing you again later on. Have a good one.